and welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I'll be your host for Tuesday or Thursday or Saturday or Sunday or in the morning or in the night time. It doesn't matter because after all, it's your podcast. Joining me, they're repeat offenders. They're back.
Guilty.
They were dealing, last time we spoke, they were dealing with angry monsters and highways. This time, they've moved into the agricultural world. And we're now dealing with potentially an explosive situation involving ungulates, or sheep, as they're known. I am welcoming back with open arms and slight disdain because, thanks to Jerry King, they were a bit late. Yes, you're getting called out in this podcast, Jerry. Thank you very much. I have Bob. I have Ryan. I have the Craig brothers. So, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Richard.
Good evening there, Richard. How you doing today?
I'm very good.
Doing just lovely.
I'm excited.
Very pumped to be here.
Yes, we are too.
I'm just excited because it's been so long. Because last time we spoke, we were speaking about Monster Highway, and then Monster Highway went on and funded, and then about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe if not longer, Monster Highway was sitting on my table getting played.
There you go.
And then 2 weeks ago, I got an email from you guys saying, "We've got a new game. It's going on Kickstarter. It's all about sheep and explosions." And I went, "Sign me up."
Where do I sign up?
Say no more.
Just bring it on. It's my two favourite things. You know, if there's a movie that's called Way of the Exploding Sheep, I'm right in there. But anyway, how you doing, first of all? How's things? And that could be answered by either of you. That's a stupid question, isn't it?
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, we're pretty pumped.
Yeah.
We got our Kickstarter. We're into day 2 now of the campaign. So, trucking along here, but we're pretty pumped.
Yeah, they we're a fifth of the way funded, which is a good start. We're happy with that. It's kind of right in line how Monster Highway started. So,
yeah. Except obviously the difference at the moment is that when we spoke last time, you hadn't run a kind of a fully kind of funded, out there, published kind of campaign, and this time you've kind of like got a little stream of backers that should hopefully be kind of joining yourselves, you know.
Yeah.
I obviously, through personal interest, want to put the Kickstarter to one side and want to find out, have you added anything to the vault, gentlemen? Because last time we spoke about lipstick on dinosaurs and swamp monsters and Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs, and I almost had like a little nostalgia cry to myself. I was so happy. It was beautiful. But have you been adding anything more to the vault, gentlemen? Please say it's yes.
Oh,
and please say it's magical.
yes,
Oh, it's definitely magical.
yeah, the vault is ever growing.
Like I said, we upgraded it. We have a retina scanner on that thing now too, so not anybody could just walk into this thing.
Yeah, that was
They were bypassing the thumbprint scanner because, you know, with the saran wrap and you could pull any fingerprints off of anything. But the retina scanner, that's a whole nother.
yeah. You can't get by it now.
No one's getting in there.
Unless they steal your eyes.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just saying.
we walk around with safety
worst
glasses
thing-
on all the time.
Yeah, with locks on them.
Locks.
Locking safety goggles just for that reason.
We'll be kickstarting that.
I go
next.
around with a plastic sack on my head. Not for very long.
Yeah.
Not for very long.
Just
Because
to protect
sometimes
our
I
board
have
game
breathing
collection.
issues. But it's definitely to stop people from stealing my eyes. It does mean I can't actually see, which means I do end up bumping into things. But, you know, it's all to keep the vault kind of safe. But anyway, what have you added? What have you added? What have you been added?
A couple lovely gems here. The first one I got to kick off, Mr. Mouth from 1976.
Wow.
You got to look it up because just to try and describe it doesn't do it any justice until you actually see the picture of it. But it's almost like a Pac-Man fella with like stoner eyes. Like his eyes are completely crossed, and it's a mechanical game. So the mouth turns around in a circle, and you're trying to. This is actually on the box. Flip your chips between his moving lips, and you're trying to toss the chips into his mouth as it opens up and closes.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh my word, and he's got like a big yellow kind of head, type face thing. And they changed it. They've got a new one that's called Mr. Mouth, but he's like a frog.
Oh, from 1987.
Yeah. So someone...
You've got that one, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we do, yeah. But their tagline said, Flip flies into frog's snapping mouth, and his eyes jiggle, and his head spins round and round. So, not as catchy of a tagline, but...
Right.
No. Do you play these games when you get them, then? Do you sit down and make sure they actually all work and everything like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And if they don't, Bob fixes them.
Yeah. Take them back to the lab.
Yeah.
Fix them up.
My collection of soldering guns, You're
like B.A. Baracus in the A-Team. You're just going to go fix it up or make it into a completely different game. Because for people who didn't maybe listen to the previous episode that you were on, and shame on you if you didn't, because you were missing the classic. It was in the top 5 of like funniest shows that we did, so you missed out. Because it was like lipstick and dinosaurs, and it got funnier than that though. But you guys are like avid game collectors, and we're not just talking about 15 different variations of Carcassonne. You like collect games from like way back, the original kind of all manner of different types of board games, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what like really excelled us into the whole board game industry, going with the retro games, realizing that there's so many random games out there. So we really started collecting a lot of them. My basement got stuff with them, and then we started modernizing ourselves and learning some of the newer games. There's more to the game world.
There's a whole new world.
Yeah, than Mr. Mouth and Shake Up and anything by Waddington.
Oh, awesome one. You have to look that one up too. It's Dynamite Shack. It's a older one.
Right.
The box is ridiculously huge, and you have giant pink thumbs, and you're trying to pick these dynamite sticks up and put them down the chimney of this house before the roof blows off. And it's got to be the most absurd game ever. And
I'm actually looking this up as you. I'll have some background music. Gonna go ding 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 ding. Right, okay, here we go. Dynamite Shack game.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're looking at it. Wow.
See them big pink thumbs? How many games have gigantic pink thumbs?
Guys, you gotta see that. You gotta go and Google Dynamite Shack, because you have huge pink thumbs, which are excellent for hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Where'd you find these things then? I mean, do you go around thrift stores or kind of like, charity shops and things like that?
There's some interesting flea markets. So actually I found Mr. Mouth at a 4-H fair at a stand that was selling board games.
All right.
It's the craziest thing in the world where I found it, but I don't know. Sometimes you find it when you're not looking for it. Like I wasn't actively looking for board games that day. That kind of found me. I was like, well, you are coming home with me. Yeah.
That's what happens to us, Richard. These games, they just find us.
Yeah.
We
do you have days when you're actively looking for board games then? You wake up in the morning and you go, right, today.
Oh, yeah.
Today's board game day.
Yep.
Today's board game day. And that's it. And you just scout about. And then when you're walking down the street, folk are seeing you walk past and go, see those Craig brothers, they're on a mission.
Yeah.
Check what day it is. Check what day it is, Jack. Jack comes back and goes, it's board game day, Stuart. It's board game day. Look at them go. Shall you talk to them? Don't interrupt them when it's board game day, for goodness sake. Just let them go. Yeah. Do you collect them just for the sake of having them? Or do you collect them for a monetary value? I mean, are there some that there's ones that you look at and you go, I'm definitely going to get this one because it's worth something. Or you getting this one because you're like, well, we don't have this, or we've got a copy of this and some of it's broken or some of it's missing. Is that how it kind of works with yourselves?
I wouldn't say I actively look for ones that are worth a lot. It's like if I see a whole shelf of random games, it's kind of like you look through the list and some games just kind of just pop out. I think because it's the most like ridiculous ones kind of catch my eye, where I can see having it on our game days and then pulling that one out, because we have a lot of game days and we're always playing like, some of the newer games, but everyone knows if they're with Bob and I that there is going to be that random, Mr. Mouth or,
giant pink thumbs are coming out or something like that.
Yeah. So we already can visualize, sitting on our kitchen table and pulling out, Mr. Mouth from 1976 and then seeing what it's like playing with a frog from 1987.
And pretty sure that Dynamite Shack may be the last one in existence. So we never know when the Smithsonian or something like that is going to contact us and try and take it away from us. So we're trying to play it as much as we can right now.
Yeah.
Before it gets taken from us. Yeah.
Are they allowed to just come up and just take it from you?
Well, for a small sum of money.
Right.
Maybe a undisclosed amount of zeros at the end of that check.
Exactly.
Now we're talking about monetary value.
We're kind of like, we're kind of thinking this is history. This is... I don't care where you put it, but this is as important as that Gettysburg Address thing. I don't know. Stick a couple of zeros. We want the money that folds. We don't want the money that kind of jingles, kind of thing, at the end of the day.
That's right.
Is there still a kind of like a holy grail of games that if you saw them sitting on a shelf, you'd be like squeeing a bit? You'd be like, ooh, kind of thing.
I think probably Dark Tower. If I saw that, I saw somebody post that they found that at a thrift mart. A thrift store, and
a working copy too.
A working copy of Dark Tower. Yeah, I think that's probably the holy grail right now.
Do you believe that? When people say that, when people are like, "Oh yeah, I found like, I found copies of Glory to Rome. I found these 3 copies of Glory to Rome, and I found them in the local charity shop, and I paid like $3 each for them." I'm not always sure. 100%.
It's like you want to believe it. To keep that hunt going. But
I'd like to believe
deep
it.
down,
I did.
It's like, was that a plant? Yeah.
I did kind of find Dungeon Lords and an expansion for Super Dungeon Explorer. But I have said this before, I am actually partial to occasionally when I've got a game and I can't be bothered kind of selling it, to kind of like just sticking it in a charity shop, just because I know somebody's going to find it and they're going to get super excited and it's going to make their day.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I know it. It's like when you reach that point, I think, where you're kind of looking at your shelves and you're going, am I actually going to play this? And I know I'm not, let's face it, if I'm not going to get like anything more than a certain amount, it's not kind of worth it even trying to sell it, because I'm not even going to really cover the shipping. So sometimes it's kind of worthwhile just saying, well, I'll see if anybody else wants it, and if nobody else wants it, I'll just stick it in a charity shop, kind of thing. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. The whole finding games, the whole kind of buying thing, it can be like a little bit of a minefield, really.
Yeah.
And speaking of minefields,
that's a perfect segue.
Wow.
You're such a professional.
2019. It's almost like I'd planned it.
Was that planned?
Was that
Cue minefield.
You guys and me were just like we're synchronized here, but we just
spirits.
planned the last 18 minutes of this conversation, so it ended up talking about your Kickstarter. But Monster Highway came out and is out there. People are playing it. What's the kind of the feedback that you've had? Had it kind of, obviously it spurred you on to kind of create your latest game, but what's kind of like the feedback that you've had back from Monster Highway?
I think the general feedback we've gotten that it's, people are really appreciating, how easy it is to learn and to teach other people to play. But then once they start playing, they can figure out that, that there is strategy mixed into it, but they can put it down on their table and in 5 minutes explain the entire game to anybody sitting there, and everybody can pick it up. And, you're not taking 20 minutes to figure a game out or have to play the entire game to figure it. It's just maybe a round or two, and people kind of get the hang of how to use all the components.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, did you take that into consideration when you were making Sheep Boomba, which has the best name ever, by the way? I'd just like to say hats off. I mean, you know exactly what kind of game you're getting into. When somebody says Sheep Boomba, well, it's sheep and there's obviously explosions. I mean, what more could anybody want? But did you kind of take the lessons that you learned in Monster Highway when you were going on to kind of tailor the design to, make changes to Sheep Boomba when you were doing it?
Yes. So we kind of followed suit with Monster Highway. So one, we got a lot of good feedback with Monster Highway that people were enjoying the quality of the components of the game. So when they went in, they're like, oh, wow, these nice tiles and like the player reference cards. There's the dice that are in it. So again, we went with the same. Well, we're going to use the same manufacturer for Sheep Boomba, but we stuck with the same quality, components for that game too. And we want to keep the same. Easy to learn, fast-paced game. This one's probably even a little bit more faster-paced than Monster Highway.
Yeah.
You have actions and card play as opposed to there's no dice in the game. So we kind of eliminated that. There's some random elements in it too, like when you're moving onto a field tile and flipping it over. But once the tiles get revealed, you have a lot more, choices as far as making in the game to play. So they have similarities, but they have some differences. But yes, we have learned a lot from Monster Highway.
Was it a consideration to kind of remove the random element of the dice out of Sheep Boomba? Was that one thing that you decided to kind of do?
Yeah. So we received some good feedback, but if we did get anything negative, it was people saying that they didn't like how random it was to roll 2 die. I mean, that's what you do. People like it. The people who bought it, that's why they bought it, because they just want to roll the die, tell me what to do. We have a nice reference card to show you to have the resolve the results. But we were getting some feedback too that people want more options. So, and we agreed, but that's how we designed Monster Highway. We're like, you know what? Let's just do it for Sheep Boomba. Let's still keep that easy to learn nature, quick to play. That whole take that element that Bob and I love in games and apply it, but just give the player, a little bit more option. So that's why we remove the die, and then it's more up to the player to decide what they want to do.
Would it be fair to say that because of your love for collecting kind of games that kind of display a lot of nostalgia, that's kind of filtered into the way that you design games, that it's important that it is something that you can sit down with, anyone at all and have them playing kind of exceptionally quickly and grasping the rules exceptionally quickly as well? I think that's exactly it. I mean, we playing all our older games, we can play 10 games in our game days, and we love that. So when we start designing, we love like those slapstick, ridiculous themes, and I think that's why that kind of filtered into our design too for our games. So we're like, we might as well just design a game based around what we like. And it turns out there's a lot of other people that like that too. So we're pretty fortunate about that. And have you been kind of jumping into any kind of the newer stuff that's been out? Yeah. Recently, have you been picking up any kind of newer games from the collection?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah, I'd say it's switched now. I mean, we like collecting, and obviously if we're out and about and we see something like that, we'll pick up a retro one here or there. But I'd say it's like 90% now, like all newer stuff that we're picking up, because we're at all these conventions, we're there and we're killing time before the doors open up, so we're walking around and picking them up and checking them out. Is it good? Anything you're kind of playing at the moment that you're really kind of enjoying? Probably one of the newer ones I picked up I really enjoyed with the Estates. Have you played that at all yet? The Estates? I've not myself. No. Capstone Games. It's part of the Simply Complex series. So we had like the Climbers, and we liked like the Simply Complex line. So we were at PAX Unplugged. I think I picked it up there. And we played a couple game days, and it's cool. It's like you're building buildings and stuff, and when you first sit down, you're like, oh, this is kind of simple, but then it's kind of sneaky in the way you play it, because there's an auction element to it, and the money movement in it, and the building. It's great. Like, we played it with 3 people, and that was pretty good gameplay. So,
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So it's probably going to make an appearance now on the next game day this weekend. And
is there anything else you're kind of covering at the moment that you would really love to get your hands on?
Ooh. I don't think
I know. That's a difficult question.
Yeah, I should say coveted in that we haven't actually had a chance to play yet that we own. I think that's we're kind of coveting. I just picked up Jamaica. Haven't had a chance to play that yet. So,
yeah, my big one, well, again, coming back because of the retro thing was Fireball Island. Actually, I backed it, but I can't believe I'm going to say, but I haven't even played it yet. We're like waiting I want to do like a whole like Fireball Island day, because there's so much that came with the game. So I want to like play the game and then set up the pirate ship, all the expansions and try it. So I'm kind of waiting to that moment where we can just have just like a Fireball Island day, because I want to start with the original and then go.
You got the original, have you?
Oh yeah,
of course you've got the original. Why am I even asking? What a ridiculous, Richard? Why are you asking ridiculous questions?
Thousand lashes.
The weather they've got.
I just wrapped it in plastic. Yeah.
It's actually hidden behind all of the Trivia Pursuit boxes that we got from our local thrift stores. That's our secret security for it.
We cut all the card, but just taped it around the box.
the DVD scene, it's in the Trivia Pursuits.
Yeah.
They're like,
all the
who
stores
would ever look behind them?
All the stores, what they say, they buy one Trivia Pursuit, you can have 50 for free.
Yeah.
I know.
That's our first level of defense.
Yeah. It's kind of at least people kind of keep Monopoly,
sure,
because they're going to play it. But then it's like people play Trivial Pursuit, and I know it falls into 2 categories. Either you get people that everybody just sits around and nobody knows the answers to any of the questions, so it takes like days.
Right.
Trivial Pursuit is like punishment for shoplifting in some countries, or otherwise you've got one person on the team that just knows everything, that is like answering questions as they're getting read, kind of halfway through kind of thing. It's like, and it's like that kind of frustration. So I see it, as long as you found a use for the cardboard boxes, then that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
As I say, like normal, we're tangenting to a completely different field. Talk about Sheep Boomba. What's the main mechanics behind it? How do we play? What can we kind of expect to see and find?
So the idea behind Sheep Boomba is your sheep have wandered into an active landmine field. As sheep do, I guess they just have randomly movements. So you have a field in front of you, and the field's made up of tiles. So at the start of the game, your sheep are around the outside. So they're on these like start tiles. And you have 2 actions on your turn, and an action is to move a sheep onto a tile. And when you move onto it, you flip it over. So it's almost like a minesweeper type game. You have no idea what's under that tile until you flip it over. So it's either going to be a barn, it's going to be a landmine, or it's going to be a safe tile. And you're scoring points for discovering tiles as you flip them over, and you have a score tracker in front of you. And you're ultimately trying to guide your sheep back to the barn. The catch is if say you're playing a 4-player game, there's 4 different color barns within that field. So I can move my sheep onto it and flip it over, and I'm playing as red. It could be a green barn there. Your sheep goes into that green player's barn on their player card. So they're kind of holding your sheep captive and then you have cards in your hand, so you can potentially try and steal them back, and sheep are kind of moving around. So you could get them back, or they could live out the rest of their time in the green barn. But you have 2 actions, and then the card play is basically part of your turn.
Okay. And have you got cards in place to kind of like mitigate kind of landing on a landmine? To kind of help avoid the kind of potential of it being kind of luck based? Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to have the Hero of the Herd card in your hand, that's how you would defuse a landmine. So if you land onto a landmine, you have a card that you replace it with. There's a safe across. It's just a piece of wood that looks like it's over top of like a crater. If you couldn't defuse it, you put that down. But if you have the Hero of the Herd and you defuse it, you flip it over, and it's an orange cone on it. meaning that it was diffused, and you get 2 points for doing that. So
Oh, right, okay.
yeah, so there's cards. There's an ambulance, like an ambulance card.
Oh, my word.
There's a lot of puns in the cards.
We worked every sheep pun we could into this.
It's just, I don't know. I feel you're getting it, but the rules sound still a little bit woolly to me.
Was that written down?
Oh, boy.
That's always...
It's 100%
It's
original.
always been written. I don't know. I just don't want to continually be sitting here and ramming these puns at you.
Zing.
Believe me, we heard them all.
I'm sure. Oh, what? No.
Zing!
Did you spend an entire night with like a whiteboard writing up kind of every word to do with sheep?
I think it was like a
And
3
then
hour
say
phone
we have to get it.
conversation.
We have to get every single word into the game.
Yeah,
It's exactly what we did.
we did.
Yeah. But we did it over the phone, which I'm sure our wives probably really appreciate it, because you just hear
Wow.
you're like, hey, I got one. And you hear a laugh.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, that's good, it's good.
It's like, what are the boys doing? I thought, are they doing board games today? No. Sheep.
Sheep.
Ah,
sheep puns.
Yeah. They're like texting each other, like, oh, they're doing the sheep stuff again.
Yeah, there they go.
You hear it in the background, like, nah! It's like, oh, there he goes again.
We're sheep pun widows.
Right.
So, how many? You've got colored sheeples.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just going to ask, because obviously one of the things that we get asked on that everybody's going to ask you if you're doing a Kickstarter is, why have you gone the route of doing kind of coloured sheeples? Should you have not gone down the kind of the miniature route? Which seems to be one of the reasons to kind of get success. You have to have miniatures in your game. Why have you gone for meeples and not kind of actual real life, real size miniature sheep?
Like full size sheep? Like real
I
sheep?
think that.
Actually, like living, breathing ones, and then you have to feed them, and the box would be huge because you have to have the straw and the hay and the food, and
Shipping would be a nightmare.
Shipping would be atrocious.
I really just think that, guys, you're just settling here.
You think we're taking the easy road out? Yeah.
I think that you're pretty much. I think I don't want to say lazy, but I kind of am, I guess.
So you want to see sheep miniatures, basically.
I want to see different sheep miniatures. I want to see, is there a potential for other animals?
Ooh, what else do you want to blow up? I mean, the game is Sheep Boomba, but I guess we could. Cow Boomba doesn't sound good, or Pig Boomba.
Beef Boomba.
Beef Boomba.
Yeah. Well, actually, go on. I'm sorry. Go, Richard.
No, you go.
So
I was just going to talk nonsense as normal.
Oh, no. No, let's go that route then.
No.
We do have it in a stretch goal to do miniatures.
Are you really?
We seriously
fake miniatures, but yeah.
The
non-breathing
type. Are you going to
type.
get them crafted? Oh my, really? Sheep miniatures? Oh wow.
Yep.
You have to have, you absolutely have to have that as a thing. That really, really needs to happen.
Yeah.
That
Maybe your
absolutely
copy. We'll send some real ones over for you.
Right.
It'll just be a Richard exclusive.
I just think that would be brilliant. That would make at least half of my day.
Yeah.
I was thinking you have to have a sheepdog card in here.
Oh, there is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's the dog card.
Is there?
There's
There
a
is.
dog.
Where?
There's a
Where?
fox. And the dog.
Where?
Little fun fact. It's actually the artwork is drawn after my dog Logan. So he's a cattle dog. So he's a herding dog. So very fitting in the sheep realm.
Yep.
Do you? Okay, as an aside, so is he a working dog? Logan is a working dog?
He's 15 right now, but at one point he was somewhat working.
Right.
Yeah. He's more retired right now. But
He's the more sit around kind of play the game kind of dog.
He's gonna be more sitting at the table than actually going out and
Like
taking
taking
care of any kind of cattle in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
more the nap on
Just
our game
imagine.
box type of dog. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I think just the other night there, my wife for the first time witnessed kind of sheepdog trials. She didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah.
So she's like staring in awe at these sheep as they're getting herded about a field by a dog, and the man is controlling it by a whistle. Now, if you actually break that down into what it is, that's a fairly magical thing.
Yeah.
To be able to do. So I just gotta watch this, just like, is this real? It's like, yeah. I mean, you gotta understand that we're used to kind of reality TV over here. So we've got like celebrities on ice skates smashing face first into the ice. So, actually having somebody that works for a living is kind of something completely new and exciting. She goes, I didn't realise this was an actual thing. It's like, yes, it is an actual thing. Wow. So there you go. So are you gonna have a little miniature Logan then?
Yeah, well, we have it as a stretch goal, so hope we can get there.
A miniature dog.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so
miniature.
cool.
Miniature dog. You say the miniature dog.
Oh, I'm sorry, the miniature dog.
Oh, we may have to work
Yeah.
that one in there too.
my
Maybe
gosh.
after the sheep miniatures, that could be, because we don't have any stretch goals beyond the sheep miniatures. So maybe a little dog miniature would be funny.
You need a dog miniature.
Oh
You
my
need
God, yeah.
What are you talking about? The dog miniature has to be the first player token.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you've not got a first player token. You've not
we
got a
we
dog
were using
miniature.
Well, at least in all of our little demos, we had like a little sheep miniature that we were using. Betsy, we were calling her Betsy.
Yeah, Betsy.
Yeah.
Betsy went to every convention with us.
She was a good girl.
Yep.
Yeah. We never fed her though.
No.
Yeah. She works.
It was a good girl, but a tragic ending.
Right.
Yeah.
Really.
She had a good run.
she had a good run.
Oh, actually, I forgot to crack the game box before I left here.
Oh,
I left her in there.
That's quite dark. We're going down the dark route, boys. We need to
All right, let's
move away from it.
let's lighten this
How's
up.
it been with play testing and also helping kind of getting the word out there about Sheep Boomba? Has it been different to last time? Has it been easier to last time?
I'd say it's definitely much easier because we kind of knew, we followed through, like at least all the conventions we went to, we went through the same ones again, but then we started having more of a following. So you go to the conventions and now we have more of a presence on social media. So people know that we're going to be at these places. So they're actively like seeking us out, and the game was received really well. Recently we actually started up a game night. It's like a designer's game night. So we run that the first Wednesday of every month. And so at that designer night, like we always have our game there set up too. So that's kind of been big in helping us develop and work the bugs out like along the way. And so I feel like the game progressed a lot quicker because of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, with you getting the group together, have you also been kind of looking at other projects that you've potentially got in the back burner as well?
As far as like us signing type things, or as far as us developing,
or just designing other things as well.
Yeah. We have two other games where we're currently working on right now. One is probably closer to actually being shown out in public now. It's a two-player abstract game, so it's definitely in left field compared to all of our other games, but
nothing's blowing up.
There's no destruction stuff and no crazy over the top monsters and nuclear meltdowns at all. But it's out of the box. It's a 2-player abstract game. It's plays sort of in the chess realm. If anybody who likes chess has definitely appreciated this, who's played it. So we have that, but then we also have our other quirky one, which is our fourth one.
Yeah,
we could just say it's Corn Mazes. So that's
okay.
going to be our little spoiler for now.
What color? Yeah, exclusive.
Right.
But it's just not a normal corn maze.
Well, obviously, I bet Jerry didn't get that though. But you didn't tell that to Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, I'm still, There's going to be words in the car, young man.
Let them have it.
You know, it's just ultimate team up. Yeah. Ultimate going to be words up in the car, mate. More like I'm telling you. That's how it's going to be. Have you thought about is there the big, heavy meteor game for yourselves as well as you kind of grow in confidence as designers and stuff? Are you kind of looking to expand what you're going to be creating over the next couple of years? Are you fairly happy in kind of how you're approaching things at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty happy where we are. I think we're probably going to do, I think that next game, not the abstract one, but the other one might even just be a step up. So maybe we'll just keep stepping our way slowly. You know, there's going to be an obvious difference between Monster Highway and Sheep and Ba when people start, you know, playing Sheep and getting it. And we'll probably just do the same gradual step. So I think it will just be a nice natural progression, but I don't think we're ever going to put a ceiling on what we would do. But I think we'll still kind of always have maybe a quirky kind of feel, but maybe the mechanics might be a little more, a little heavier.
Do you think that's necessarily a bad thing? Is keeping kind of things kind of where you are in terms of making it kind of picking it up and kind of easy to play? Because I mean, I'm not being funny, but when me and my son played kind of Monster Highway the couple of times that we played it, it's incredibly easy just to pick up, stick on the table and start playing without even having to, you know, really refresh yourself about the rules. Whereas I know there's other games that I've received which I'm still kind of struggling to get my head round, but that's probably because I'm a bear of very small brain. But do you think sometimes on Kickstarter there's a strive for everything to be maybe a bit kind of overcomplicated and in depth and the biggest game ever and the most complicated game ever and the thickest rule book ever sometimes?
Yeah. I see it a lot, you know, just kind of looking through Kickstarter, and it's like there's so many heavy games coming out, and that's pretty much, I mean, again, why Bob and I are excited to be in this part of the game community of coming up with that, because it's the games that we want to play. You know, we want to put it down in 5 minutes, start playing. We don't want to, you know, spend an entire day reading a rule book and trying to figure it out, and then spend another day explaining it to your gaming group. So
yeah. So are you more likely to go for like, as in complicated, as in kind of Fireball Island type of complicated, as to maybe going for like a Mage Knight type complicated? If that was the direction you were going, it would be bigger, stronger, louder, faster kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's exactly right. I guess earlier when I was saying heavier, meaning like maybe it's still like that, the game like a Monster Highway, Sheep Boom Bob, but there's just a couple more things, but it's never going to cross that line where it's just, you know, it's going to hurt trying to get through the entire rule book.
No, I mean, as I say, I think it's fair enough. I think it's sometimes really, really easy to, and I guess when I speak to a lot of people, one of the questions or one of the things that continually comes up is, did you, how much stuff did you have to strip out as you started? And a lot of the time people are like, well, I really, really had to strip an awful lot of stuff out because the beginning kind of thing was complicated. And I think one of the things that people are becoming more and more aware, especially I think in Kickstarter, is getting a game delivered, but making sure you're actually getting it to the table, because otherwise you're kind of just putting, you know, $100 on the table, and you might as well just give it to somebody else because you're not actually really, really using it, apart from maybe getting involved in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I kind of think too, like, we like the heavier games too. Like, we have one friend in particular, so we got to play Scythe for the first time, and we like heavier games too, but the game groups that we have that can actually play those type of games are so small. We have like 2 or 3 friends, you know, good friends that will actually play those games, but the other 90% of our friends will play like our style games. So I think that's kind of maybe why we gravitate towards that, because on our game nights, we're, like I said, we pull out Sheep, we pull out Monster Highway, but then we pull out a handful of other ones that we know that we could teach pretty quick and rip through. And that's why I think we're in our comfort zone with that too. and not to be one-dimensional designers, but it's like you kind of find your niche and go with it, and then your following also starts to, follow suit. So our Monster Highway backers are kind of hopping on with Sheep because they're like, oh, we liked Monster Highway. We've played Sheep. Yeah, they have a similar feel. Yeah, we'll stick with you and we'll follow you.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I say, I think people kind of like that because they know they're going to get it played. They know they're going to have fun. They know they're going to kind of have a good time. So,
sure.
In terms of the price of entry, as in how much is a pledge going to cost you, if you want to get a copy of Sheep Boom Ba?
Yes, one copy of Sheep Boom Ba is $29.
So we're able to.
That's nothing.
We're trying to drop that down too, because with Sheep Boom Ba, it doesn't have a game board in it. So with Monster Highway, there's the game board. So we're trying to look at how can we, cut costs a little bit, and it really isn't necessary to have a board. So if we're able to drop that out and still keep the same quality and the components, we actually went with when we got our quotes from our manufacturer, we went with the best card stock, the best cardboard stock. Everything, all the components are like top notch right off the bat, like linen finish. That's not even a stretch goal. It's like everything's just included in on that right out the gate. So like if we could just bring the best quality game forward right off the bat and not have a board in there, we can get that down right at the $29 price point for the backers.
And we went with a dual board for the player board. So like when you're moving your sheep, a score tracker, because a lot of times on our original prototype we had, the sheep were kind of moving all over the place. There's a score tracker around the perimeter of your player board.
All right.
So then you bump the table and your sheep moves, and people were like, "Oh wait, I don't remember where I was." So then we came up with the idea to do the dual layer board. So now the sheep has a nice little square home on every point, 1 through 20, 0 through 29.
Cool.
Yeah, so the barns have like a little, corral around it too. There's a barnyard on there. So, yeah, we were able to really focus on the components.
So how long has it got to run on the campaign? You've still got like a good well over 3 weeks to go. Probably 25 days at recording, and by the time this comes out, probably about a good 3 weeks to go. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And are you kind of quietly confident with how things are going so far?
Yeah, it's actually pretty similar to how Monster Highway started. So, we didn't have like a gigantic first day with Monster Highway. Same thing with Sheep, and then everything kind of trickled in, and then it was a nice burst at the end. But our funding goal is lower for Sheep Boom Ba, so we're a fifth of the way there now, and we're 2 days in, so we're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
well, that's good. That's good. If people want to keep an eye on you on the internet webs, where do we find you on the internet webs?
Well, you can go to our website is onedaywestgames.com, and then we're on all the social media platforms at One Day West Games. And then we also, and our YouTube channel too is also One Day West Games.
Oh, right, okay. And is that where you can see kind of like gameplay of Sheep Boom Ba and kind of Monster Highway, yeah?
Yeah, we just posted a playthrough video of Sheep Boom Ba at our last game day. We filmed that, so that's up there now. We made our how to play video. So you can watch it in a 4-minute video how to play.
If you get a chance to, you got to take a look at our commercial for Sheep Boom Ba too.
Save that one for last.
I think for definite that is something that's going to have to get linked into the show notes so everybody can see it. Are you wearing costumes?
Well, not so much, but it's over. Are you familiar with infomercials and how they run at like retro infomercials? Yeah, so that was the basis for the video for this one.
Yeah,
kind of
it ties into Bob and I our love for infomercials.
Yeah, if you watch it within the first seconds, you're like, "Yep, it's those guys." Yeah,
there they are.
They're the masterminds behind this one for sure.
Again, it's the whole like over the top. Top. Like Bob said before in the past, he was like, the black and white scenes where people were having like their worst day of their life. like something in the black and white scene, and then, it goes in the color, and you hear the chime in the background. And then, now introducing the best thing in the world. So, we took that format and then applied it. We're like, wouldn't it be funny if it was a board game? Yeah, like the infomercial was a board game.
So absolutely not cheesy at all in any way, shape, or form.
Oh no, it's full blown big production. So yeah.
Straight laced,
very straight, very serious,
down the middle, very serious, informative and educational at the same time.
Oh, it is.
Exactly. Yep. Sheep and Bob can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, especially the newer generation. They probably have no idea what an infomercial is because no one actually watches commercials or anything like that anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll make sure that we put a link in the show notes so that we have notes to show. If you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, go to the internet web, search for We're Not Wizards. You'll find us on various places, Worn Out Faces, I don't know, all the places as normal. There's kind of like our website, and there's Twitter, and there's Instagram, and there's Facebook. And you can email us, magic@we'renotwizards.com. You can always jump onto these podcast catchers if you've liked what you listened to tonight and drop us a little subscription on places like Acast and Stitcher and Spreaker and Spotify and Google Podcasts as well. For some reason we're on there. Google has apparently found us and they're not going to let us go. If you like what you've listened to tonight, there's couple of things you can do. Tell somebody else. Just tell somebody else. It's always nice. We appreciate it. And you can go to Apple Podcasts and you can drop us a rating, a subscription, and a review. And if you are going to drop us a rating or a review, don't give us 10 stars because it makes us big-headed, but don't give us 1 star because it makes us cry. Give us 5 stars because it's like in the middle, and just like Jerry King, it's average.
One last
I've still not forgotten Jerry, because every single time for the next 5 podcasts he's going to get mentioned.
Yeah.
But the people who have not been average, I bring you Bob, I bring you Ryan, I bring you the Craig brothers. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, Richard, thank you. This is always a blast.
Always a pleasure to have you on. It's always fun. There's only a couple more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, gentlemen?
No, we are not, Richard.
Never.
There you go. And the second thing is to say goodbye. So it's goodbye from Bob.
Yes, goodbye, everybody. And Richard,
and
thank you.
And it's a goodbye from Ryan.
Goodbye, everybody.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s. And if you're looking for something that's accessible and fun and easy to play and pick up and learn and is involving sheep and explosions and farms and potentially miniatures, then you have to check out Sheep Boom Bar. But until the next time, meh. Blah.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.